Good afternoon. We are live stream on this busy day in Trinidad and Tobago, Carnival Monday. All these people out there reveling. I saw a video a while ago. My brother apparently he heard into Carnival a whole lot, and there weren't many people there yet. People were still gathering for the bands and stuff to start to do whatever and do. So apparently it's a slow start to the Monday. A Monday is normally a kind of slow start. If I remember clearly
Yeah.
when I used to play Carnival thing, but so it's been slow. But there's Carnival Monday in Trinidad and Tobago. And we're going to do our intro and just get right into our topic of the day, have our conversation, our girl chat. And
you're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up.
I love it, Cheryl. Oh my gosh. Wow. Ladies, every
I
time.
didn't want to allow the video to go any longer because I wasn't sure if I could, because I've used this song on Instagram and also YouTube. If it's anything else, let me know, and I could just change the song. I love that song. It means so much to women. The lyrics
Yes.
of that song so beautiful, but so I tried it. But the video could stay, I know for sure. Everything there's
Yes.
copyrighted, everything there's authorized to be used, but I'm just not sure about the songs. I'm just declaring that now. Send me an email with anything, do not ban my channel, please. Okay? So that I can use it, I'd be happy. So welcome to our subscribers, to those who are going to subscribe, to those who are going to hear this on the replay, this conversation on the replay on this busy Trinidad day, Carnival Monday. We have Carnival Monday and Tuesday, and then tomorrow night at midnight, I think. It is still to
Mm-hmm.
midnight. At the end of the carnival season, and then we enter into the Lenten season, and all the people who are whining and gyrating in town today will go to church and get the ashes on their forehead and become holy one more time. So you're gonna give them a chance to have a good time. Okay, let them have a good time. Okay? So that's all I have to say about that. I'm Sheldon. I'm an image professional, international keynote speaker, author, trainer, and friend to many people. I want to say that I'm a friend. I try my best to be a friend indeed, because my mission that God has put into my spirit is to uplift other women, to help them to live a better life. I continue to learn and grow and live an upstanding life myself. And this is my friend.
Christine Francois, wellness coach, former banker, as well as corporate communications executive and event producer. So, having been around, God has blessed us with quite a number of years already on this earth, for which we are grateful. Yeah, and excited to be in this space with my girlfriend, Cheryl Diane. And yeah, just having a good time. Today is Carnival Monday. The revelry started, wow, Cheryl, more than a week ago. And
Since no, no, since Boxing Day. Since Boxing Day.
oh,
Started since
yes,
Boxing Day.
that's
When the
true.
party started. Yeah.
That's true. And then, of course, it will culminate not just on Carnival Tuesday midnight, but of course, the wrap up on Ash Wednesday, where people go to the beaches and do whatever. But it's a time of revelry and music and dancing and some other things that we probably won't get into today. But yeah, today's topic is one that hits close to the heart.
Yes. Part of the topic that is. We never used to have anything from long ago. You know, it's not that we never 8 years, 8 years. I don't know why. But anyway, long ago, I'll just say a few years back, at midnight on Carnival Tuesday, everything ended. There was
Yeah.
nothing else, and not even calypso or soca music. But now, I guess the church has become more liberated, and people feel as though it's hypocrisy to stop all of the revelry at midnight. So they have all these after parties, and they carry on and they play everything that they want to play. So there's no longer a holy time, which depending on where you are in your mind, where religion and God is concerned, it's up to you. So as I'm concerned, there's always holy time for me. There's always a time for me to get down off my high horse and to always do the right thing to please God. That's me, right? That's where I am. Today, I want to touch on, you might have seen the hashtag Nicole Bulley. That's a young woman, a young mother who disappeared a couple of weeks ago. And it was it's a strange one, a really strange one. She had a living partner, a gentleman, and they had two young children. And she walked her dog along this lake, this river bank almost every day. People knew her walking this little dog. I remember the dog's name, this little dog. And so she walked her dog there all the time. And this particular day, she went out to walk her dog. And then the dog was off the leash because she was riding a small dog. So eventually
Yes.
she sat on the bench, all right, on the river bank, which is, they said, very, very shallow. If you slip in, they could stand up. And she was only like
Right.
5 feet, but it's somewhere she could have stood up. So
Right.
she sat on the bench right there, and she tuned in on Teams to an office
Meeting.
meeting.
Mm-hmm.
She never signed off from the meeting, but a little later in the afternoon, other workers found the phone on the deck, on the bench, and they found the little dog running back and forth from the gates to the bench. Because none of those
Yeah.
dogs so they could be attached to, running back and forth, knowing when really something happened to its owner. So the search started, and they questioned the of course the husband. I'll call him her husband because they live together and they were parents. They questioned her husband or her partner, whoever you want to call him, and he seemed quite puzzled as well. And I listened to my guys on the behavior panel, who, if you all listen to them, you all need to tune into that channel. I mean, giving them a plug. They don't know me, but I'm giving them a plug because I like to listen to them. Because they tend to break things down. They show you what to look for where body language is concerned. And the consensus they came up with in a general sense that they didn't think that he was guilty. They didn't think he knew what happened to her. So many theories ensued, many, many, many. And I think it was 2 days ago, over the weekend, it was discovered that their business, that the business that they had together, had some financial trouble. There were problems there.
Okay.
And so another theory came up again, people were speculating, or was speculating, people could just speculating on you, saying maybe it's that, maybe it was that, or would that be a reason for her to leave her children? People who knew her and her family said she would leave her kids or whatever it is. And it was a really a whole strange scenario. The man didn't seem to be guilty, and nobody seemed to know what happened to her. Police came in, they brought divers in, they told the divers where to search. Because from where the time span from when she disappeared to where the dog was and where the phone was, they searched that area and they found nothing. So they kept thinking maybe kidnapping, maybe a lot of different things. She ran away to change her life because of what happened. They were wondering if there were problems between she and her partner. Also, they came up with all sorts of things, and nobody could really say what happened. Anyway, yesterday I think it was, a body turned up in the surface it was in the river, but this morning I heard it wasn't in the river, it was in some weeds a little further down. The body was tied up inside at the bank of the river. So it could have been that the body washed up from the river, but it could have been that the body was never in the water. But the head of the diving team was saying that there's something very wrong with that because they searched where they were told to search. But it's not a very rough river that goes very deep, very far. So I'm not sure what was the whole thing with that. But they're saying where they searched, there was no body there. There wasn't a body there. And if for that body to be where it was, the theory is speculation again, folks, that because I'm listening to the news and listening to the people who are reporting on this thing, that it might have been that the body was placed there afterwards. Of course, there's no official identity yet up to when I came on here, so maybe there is now, I'm not sure. But up to when I came on the stream this afternoon, there was no identity, anybody, no official. Everybody's saying it has to be her. But because of the state of decomposition, nobody, there was no real identification. They had to do the autopsy and different things to make sure that was her before they made a public statement. But of course, her family was informed and all of that, that his body was found and all of that. It's such a sad case because, sometimes of course, and there was somebody, I don't know who it was, but I heard on the YouTube, so I follow talk about it, that somebody was speculating that she drank a lot because she was going through menopause and she had problems. I don't know why a woman's menopause must become a problem for people to talk about on YouTube, but anyway, that's part of life. But I thought that was a little bit, off the wall, that conversation, that thing. Of course, I was hanging about the alcohol thing. I didn't know that she had a problem with drinking. Never didn't hear about it until maybe yesterday, right? In a short video, somebody put up about that.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is so sad that if it's her body, that a person who's accustomed to that area, a person who they said I believe she could swim, but it wasn't a very deep river. That she a place that she could normally have walked out of. How did she get in there? How did she drown? If it was somebody who did something to her, why? It was a deliberate thing because of her financial situation. Why? It's one of those things where you have to be just very careful and very sensitive. That can be anybody who you know. And I'm not one of those persons to come to judgment at all. In fact, I dislike with a passion judgment, any kind of judgmental thing about anybody. It's just a puzzle that she didn't have a friend or somebody who she thought she could go to if it was really trouble in paradise or trouble in a financial way or whatever it is. And all I want to say is if anybody who's listening and who would hear this stream, if you have a problem, find somebody to talk to. Because my mother always taught me, taught her daughters, that the worst that could happen is that the person could carry a business somewhere else. And I know it's on them, not on you, but offload it. Because when you offload, usually you feel better. When you talk about what is happening, you usually feel better. And all of us, and like I always say, I know many people. I'm friends of many, associates of many, many, many people. But I have a tribe, right? I could count them on one hand. I have the women I know I can call and talk to anytime, right? And it's like what you tell me, but I can talk to them.
Yeah.
We all need to find those persons in our lives who we could confide in. And I know it's not as simple as that. Because the mental state the mind is something else, and that mental state, whatever happens at that moment, is always something kind of like jolting, to think. I want to encourage women and men, right? This channel is really for women, but we don't want to live without men and men to find someone or person or persons or some place they can go and find people they can talk to, right? I know sometimes church can be very judgmental. Sometimes you go to them at something and they don't tell you what you really want to hear. They just want to pray. Prayer is good, but prayer has its place, I think. Sometimes people need some counseling and some comfort. It doesn't always have to be, words that make somebody feel as though that they're doing something wrong. So we need to be careful about that. And the reason I brought up men, because I kind of some partners feeling right now, and yesterday's news broke that Kelly Pickler, if anybody remember on American Idol, very southern girl, blonde. I remember most about her. She was so shy and reserved back in the day that she couldn't even eat the food that they were serving during the American Idol tour and stuff. She only remembered her grandmother's fried chicken, and she was so sheltered. And I see her come out and become a big country star and stuff. She was married for a couple of years to this other country singer. And he took his own life after doing some sort of a speech on positive something and promoting something the day before and put thing to his head and left his life. So that's a puzzle that everybody who saw him like the day before kind of wondered, well, really? I mean, him. So it doesn't matter who you are. Sometimes things happen to people. And I want all of us to understand that we need to talk, cry even sometimes, you know. And when I come back after Christine, I want to talk about someone another person I follow on YouTube as well. And this is more. I mean, I know his testimony. It was when I listened to him actually tell that testimony. And I was almost brought to tears because it told me about God's goodness and his love for us. And it showed me how God does not cancel us at all, regardless of whatever lifestyle we may be involved in. Regardless
Yes.
of whatever the world might say, whatever the church might say, whatever people's opinions are, God doesn't cancel us. He always gives us a chance. And He's always there for us. And sometimes some of us need to go back to going to God, go back to dropping on our knees, you know. I always say that bent knees break chains. Go on your knees, and sometimes you don't have to have words. You don't have to have a prayer, but it doesn't have to be like a whole long prayer. You could just call on the name of the Lord. Just call on the name of Jesus. That is a powerful thing. He hears us and He sees us. It's always heartbreaking to me when I see things like this happen to people, you know. So, Christine, let me come off the stage a bit and allow you to speak, and then I will continue with what I have to say.
Well, if there's anyone from Nicole Bulley's family who eventually may or may not end up seeing this conversation, we want to extend our heartfelt prayers to her children, her parents, her partner, extended family, friends, community. It is hard. It is desperately, wrenchingly hard to lose a life. Every single life is treasured and cherished. And I agree with you. Speculation adds to pain.
Yes.
To if we can just stop for a moment and say to ourselves, if this was my child, how would I feel? It's easy to bypass that, but you and I come from a more mature time, and just thinking about them and knowing that every judgmental word, every word of speculation adds a dagger to the heart of parents, of children, of partners, husbands, wives, of loved ones. And when the truth, because the truth will eventually come out, as it always does,
We hope.
then we will, yes, well, eventually, God is good. Then eventually we'll know the truth of what happened. Um, I found that in prepping for this conversation today, it was it was a bit interesting to see that word menopause mentioned, because I recall a few months ago also doing some prep work for another conversation, and I saw some information coming out of Australia with with how some women are not coping very well with menopause because the range is huge. It could be not so bad to extreme. So far, so much so that one husband said that the woman in their home was totally not his wife. He did not recognize the person. So, lots of things have been mentioned, and we will wait to see what comes out of the police investigation. I noticed that even the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has weighed in some way, shape, or form on this case, because it's you hardly ever hear, and it was interesting when you directed my attention to this case, because we hardly ever hear about things like this, and I'm sure there are things like this happening all the time, but that it makes international news coming out of the UK. So it was a tough one to read because you think about um, two little kids. That's what I'm thinking about. Two little kids who have lost their mom, and they're too young to understand as yet what truly has transpired, and their life without her is going to be is not going to be what was originally planned. So
Right.
that's it. I mean, just to wrap up my comment, we truly don't know what happened, and globally issues of health and wellness, mental wellness, people are under a lot of stress. um, and as you said, sometimes we don't feel, because sometimes we do have someone we can talk to, but we just feel so isolated that we don't feel we can express our challenges to someone close, another loved one, a confidant, and we truly need to develop those kinds of relationships. Not that you want, as you said, you don't want your personal business all over the place, so you choose your confidants carefully, but someone that you can rely on, who may only be able to lend you an ear, and one that is an ear that's full of love and caring, and maybe just to hold your hand, maybe just to listen to you cry, just to say things will work out, there must be a way, and we can find a way together. So that's my take on the case, Cheryl.
And it's not the end of the world if you have financial problems. And there are many of us who have financial problems. There are many of us who have gone through some stuff financially that's crazy, right? And I know how tough it is. Sometimes, like, my sister and I spoke about once, and there was a time when you're literally afraid to even open your mailbox or answer your phone because things are so bad, you know. But there's always light at the end of the tunnel. There's always tomorrow. And if we only I don't, and I know it's not just cut and dry and saying it's not just black and
No.
white because people have ways of thinking differently and feeling differently, overwhelmed. I certainly have felt overwhelmed. I would look up in the morning or went to my bed at night, just you can't sleep, you're overwhelmed with certain things that are pressing on your mind. I understand that, but I feel that I am alive and well because of my belief in God. That I know even if I couldn't find another human being to say something to, that at least I could cry out to God and I could say Jesus, even if I didn't have words to say, because I was going to
Yes.
maybe too full at the moment just to like to find all these, some people think that to pray and say all these words and no, no, no. I was able to, and I could tell you something, and God answers prayer. Because I've gone to bed with one situation and God come in next morning, and just like the phone will ring or somebody will come by and something
Turn
will
around.
change.
Turn
Something will
around.
change. And,
Yes.
and I want to segue into Beckett Cook. One of my favorite people on YouTube. What I like about Beckett Cook, he's so honest and he's brave. Because he used to be a gay man and an atheist. I know that's a subject that people don't like to talk about, right? And God delivered him out of the wilderness of his life. And when you listen to his full testimony about how it happened to him, because he didn't believe, and he was living his life, and he was doing his thing, and he was making his money because he's a part of the Hollywood elite, set designer and everything else, and doing his thing or whatever. So he was, doing well, right? He had a lover. He was in love with someone. They had a relationship and all of that. And when he said how it happened to him, any of you who open-minded enough to listen and not feel that somebody's been has a phobia, I have no phobia about anybody. We are all God's people. Just remember I said that. But God delivered him from where he was. And that's what he's not, and I mean, I don't think he's better than anybody else. God could deliver all of us. And he said it happened to him like a whoosh, something that's happened to him. It was almost, well, not always, it was supernatural, his deliverance. And he can do that for any of us. And I know I sound like I'm preaching, but somehow today my heart feels full for that young woman. I know people start saying things, why is she getting so much attention? But I think sometimes these things happen because of how it happened. Because of people finding the dog and because of she was on that meeting at work and left her phone on. She didn't even come off the thing. It would seem to the ordinary thinker, the person with the brain thinking, that maybe somebody took her away because the dog was still there and she was so close to her children. She didn't fall into the river. She left her phone and left the phone on. So even at work, they signed off. Her phone was still tuned in to the
Right.
meeting. So it would just seem as though it was set up like it. So I was set up like it to look as though, to seem as though somebody took her, or it really did happen. But this body turning up now in the weeds at the side of the river, just really curious. And of course, when I get off here today, I'm going to be listening to all those. I listen to some of them, all of them. Not to the speculation or the sensation, or not them. I want to listen to some, and I don't listen to mainstream media either because they're worse than paparazzi. I'm not gonna lie, they're worse than TMZ. They just, oh, there's some of them I already can't hear them. But they go into in areas that they know you shouldn't go into, and they just kind of make everything into a big sensation because they're looking for clickbait, right? Because that's the other part of what we're going to talk about today. They're looking for clickbait, and that's, I don't want clickbait. I want people to genuinely be hearing. This is a young mother who had a seemingly good life. Things have been unearthed now with her business and her financial situation, all of that, and we don't know what happened to her. And and it's not a matter of wanting to know her business, but it's curious because this could be a lesson for anybody else to learn from, right? And when I listened to Beckett Cook this morning, I listened to his interview about his testimony. It just reinforced to me. I mean, I always knew it. That God is a God of mercy and love. And no matter where you are in life, He could pull you out of it. So don't let people talk you into over any ledge, off of any ledge, or don't talk yourself off to a ledge to feel as though there's no hope for tomorrow. Even if you don't have a loaf of bread today, trust me, just like that, things could turn around. Just like that. Just like that. And it may not even come from somebody that you know. Sometimes it doesn't come from people who God just put in your life for a time,
Yes.
right? To lift you out. Because He doesn't open clouds, but things happen in your life. And you know what? The last thing I want to say on this subject is that a lot of times, sometimes, we can make things happen for ourselves. Now, I know that the church, again, I was attacking the church because they always did some strange thing, that you shouldn't use the word manifest. Manifesting is simply having faith, as far as I am concerned. And we can make things happen for ourselves. Sometimes when things not going right, if we sit in one place and just pray and pray and pray and wish, it wouldn't
Yeah.
change. Sometimes we have to get from where we are and make steps. And I always talk about that guy who got that job at Carib. You always hear me talk about that guy who was walking the highway every morning picking up bottles. When he couldn't find a job, he decided that he was going to employ himself. So he got up every day dressed in his work clothes, work shoes and all, and walked and picked up bottles and sold it. So that every single day he'd go home and give his family a meal. And God honored his gratitude and honored his faith and his walk by allowing somebody to notice him and say, he doesn't look like he's human. He doesn't look like anything wrong with his mental thing at all. Let me stop and see what's going on with this guy, and got him a job. So sometimes we need to get from where we are and move. Sometimes it's simply me telling somebody, listen to me. I was talking to somebody recently, and there's a segue, I'll come back to what we're talking about business. Everybody knows that I have some people know I have my lipstick brands and stuff, right? It's one of my passions. I'd like to get back into this in a full thing. I was just about to launch a new line of it and new packaging and stuff when COVID hit. And of course, the money had to stay in the account, and of course, I had to use it now to live for maybe almost 3 years because, well, everything just kind of shut down. Now it's starting to open back up. And the person was saying, well, you can't invest in things and just like that. I don't know how you'll make money. And I'm saying to myself, I shouldn't be listening to that person because you know what? If that person was to open up their mind a little bit, business doesn't happen by one person. I always told people, Trump had all those buildings with his name in gold across it. Some of those buildings he didn't even own, right? And a lot of it had partnership and directors. And I've worked with companies where when you look at the letterhead and look at the bottom, you think it's Mr. Henry and Mr. George who own it, right? Well, Henry
Yes.
George was my grandfather, my mother's father, so I could call his name, right? You think it was Mr. Henry George who owned it, But when you look at the bottom, you see directors, Christine Francis, Cheryl Swing, this one, all that, because they all contributed to that thing. People invest in you. And you can certainly look for an investor to get into business with you. Business doesn't mean that you have to go and find all the money by yourself and start something by yourself selfishly inside of your house. You can find investors. So something means opening up your mouth, opening up your mind, speaking to other people, go to certain meetings, connecting with others to get that going. So that person said to me, I said, she doesn't understand business because nobody taught her to use her savings to start a business. What I was trying to say to her, that we need as women to put our heads together and see what we can do to make it work. Because every month decide, oh my God, it's month and again, I have bills to pay and we don't have money because the business hasn't started back. Business is slow. We have to do something about ourselves. We can get up and do it. Because people get up and they go, they people start with $100 and became millionaires. Rihanna is now 1.7 billion, as he said, I heard 1.5, I heard 1.7 billion in worth. And the biggest part of her revenue came from her Fenty beauty line. But guess what? You know she only owns 50% of that beauty line, right? There are investors around her.
Yes.
Fenty is not hers 100%. So people need to hear those stories to understand that is business. Business never means you singularly doing things. You know, the Bible talks about wherever two or three are gathered in his name, he's among us. And people seem to feel like a churchy thing, you know, it just means prayer. No, it means everything, right? If I want to get ahead in life, I want to do this channel. And I was adamant I didn't want to do this channel by myself. I was sure, you know what I mean? Why would I want to just get here every day and just talk to the screen? Why
Right.
couldn't I have somebody there who would come and join me in conversation? The channel is still mine. It didn't go anywhere. But the thing is, why don't I have somebody else who would come and join me in these conversations to make it make more sense? Add some value to it. Bring another woman in, bring another sister in to chat with me. Why, you know what I mean? And that was something, and that's something I always tell people. Selfishness, trying to do things on your own by yourself, will never work. You always have to have partnership. It is a good thing to practice. So that's a segue. So the other part I want to talk about is the those people who are so anxious to cancel everybody and everything. There's a section of the community, not in Trinidad and Tobago, I wouldn't be like that. In the country that calls themselves the world superpower. And I like to visit you all and shop and stuff, and I have lots of family living there, so don't put me out. But I feel me as though there's a segment of a section of the community that wants to stay in that perpetual woe is me kind of thing. It's always talking about who looks like me and about me and they look at us and they wouldn't get up and get for themselves. Maybe I am wrong because I don't live in the environment. Maybe because I'm not a part of it and I only visit and come back home. But to me, it sounds as though I can sit here every day and say, well, nobody want to give me a job because I'm older. I am this, I am that, and I'm telling you, my age has nothing to do with anybody else. It's nobody's business. It's just a number that God has granted me here on this earth. Because He could have taken me off long ago, He could have taken me away, but He allowed me to live it, and I'm grateful for it. So age should not be, just like how menopause should not be a problem to anybody. Age should not be a problem. That's why I don't talk about age. Right? Your age is your business. Right? You live. It's something we need to be grateful for every day when we wake up in mornings. Oh my God, my legs are moving, my eyes are open, I can sit up my bed. I am grateful for another day of life. You know what I mean? And age brings wisdom, which is a fact, right? It has a history, and in our case, the her story, so we could tell the younger ones about our story, so they would probably wouldn't have to go through so many things that we went through in life. That's how our parents told us things that happened with them, right? The world is evolving every day, so we need to help each other out. So aging is a beautiful thing. And now we know we can take out, as Christian and I were talking earlier today about our collagen and our things taking care of our skin. I'm also an esthetician. These are things you can do to preserve what God has given to us. We don't have to go and change it and Madonna our face away, right? But we could certainly do things to take care of our bodies. Eat well, drink our water, take care of our skincare products, take care of our facials, take our vitamins and our collagen and do things to keep ourselves. And most of all, all of that, is to keep a sound mind, a positive mind. What God did give us, a spirit of fear, but He gave us a spirit of power and a sound mind. People need to read that scripture again and understand what it meant. He gave us all a sound mind. So all this mental illness are going around the world. I know that it's for real with some people, but I think it's been over exaggerated. I'm just like Dr. Phil. Too many diagnoses. Too many diagnoses. That's the word, right? Too
Yes.
much of that. Everybody has something. It's all the when I was growing up, nobody had ADHD. Some children is hyperactive, right? They give them less sugar, right? But no, there are different varieties of this thing now. I mean, it's good to know that there are no names, but there's just way too many names. You know what I mean? Way too many names, and everybody's claiming something. You know what I mean? People need to live and let live. This life is not a rehearsal. We come through this way but once. It's not a rehearsal. Let's curtail some of the anger. People want to scroll through people posts and say things about them. Everybody knows who's ugly. Everybody knows who is this. Everybody knows who's stupid. It's just amazing to me that people can't allow others to have an opinion for themselves. You keep yours, I keep mine. Simple. What are you saying, Christine?
Wow. Cheryl, wow. There's so many. It's interesting that you talked about canceling again today because that has been a recurring decibel over a number of weeks for us. And this morning, today I read, I'm in the Psalms, ladies and gentlemen. I'm in the Psalms, and today's Psalm is number 47. Short, sweet, joyful. But in there, it says that he chooses our inheritance. He chooses our inheritance because he loves us. So I was, just kind of contemplating that this morning and just having that conversation on social. And it just brought to my mind the fact that we get to be a reflection of our Father, our Creator, who imagine a father, even a mother, imagine a parent excitedly choosing gifts for their child. Maybe it's a child's birthday. And you know, and I know, how excited we get when we have to give gifts. You want to make sure it's the right thing, that they will enjoy it. And imagine God is doing that for us. He chooses. Now, to choose means that you have to invest, don't you? You have to invest time, thought. Chooses our inheritance. Inheritance. Now, when you have an inheritance, that means that you have something more than you have right now, right?
Yes.
And if God is our king, is the king, then that makes us heirs to the kingdom, right? So I'm thinking about all of that this morning, and I mentioned to my group in social that it's interesting that we could do the same in this world that is so quick to cancel, just so quick to cancel. We get angry because someone may say something that's not in keeping with maybe our own personal beliefs, but we all have space for that level of freedom, right? So it's interesting that you shared that. Now, when we talk about a lot of mental health issues, we come back. I got access to a 90-minute documentary yesterday, Cheryl, and I have to go back and find it because it started off really good and then I had to stop to do something else. I think it's called We Need to Grow, and it's narrated by the actress Rosario Dawson, and it talks about the degradation of the planet's soil, what that has led to. I think as we speak, the degradation is more than 60% of quality soil across the entire planet. And if we do not do something about this right now, then by the year 2075, we will have no quality soil on the planet. And without quality soil, we can't have good food. Without good food, well, just imagine what comes next. So what we do know, and science proves, is that when we have poor quality soil, whatever comes out of the soil is not as it was 100 years ago, 200 years ago when our forefathers were running around, right? And that is leading to uh, deficits in the quality of our cells, our microbiome, etc. That now is causing issues with what happens in the gut affects the brain, and hence the reason I'm not saying everyone, but it's becoming more common. More kids with ADD, ADHD, bipolar disorder, and then there are autoimmune diseases that come out of poor. It's just a chain reaction, poor quality. And so, God did give us a sound mind, and we started off okay, I start off with 100%
Yeah.
perfection. We started off at 100%, but slowly over time, um, issues of just this broad spectrum mechanical growth, and then GMOs and other things is just degrading the land. Things that bees are getting killed. I mean, there's a whole movement about saving bees, etc. And what we're trying to do now is trying to pull it back, pull it back. We've got people talking about water conservation, the atmosphere, the traumas in the atmosphere. You're talking about free radicals, all of those things happening around us. And yet we have been blessed with talents where we can get to use our minds, our mental capabilities to turn things around. So yeah, there's a lot of, and I'm not one to totally focus on negative. I believe there's a lot more beautiful, good things happening in the world than there are awful, horrible, disgusting things happening in the world. It's just that the awful, disgusting, sad, soul wrenching things get more airplay. And there are people out there doing so much good in the world. Like we are having this conversation right now, and we are attracting people to think. Ladies, that's what we want you to do. We want you to think, because Cheryl and I don't just, well, we'll just talk about X, Y, and Z and come here with nothing pre-planned. We think about what is this going to mean to you? Are we going to get you to think differently or think at a deeper level to improve your lives, to have conversation with other women, to come together as collaborates, collectives, to help communities become better? Because ultimately, we will pass on, and those left will be our children and our grandchildren and our great grandchildren. And we truly want a world of peace, of hope, of good health that we can leave for them. So that's just my take on it. On all that you've shared. I found this story about Beckett Cook rather interesting. I know you mentioned it to me, and there's some reading I'm going to do, because redemption can come for all of us. None of
All of us.
us.
All of us.
None
And
of us is perfect.
and he's
None of us
very,
are
very brave,
perfect.
because that's a no-no subject for a lot of people,
Yeah.
and because and even those who may want to believe him and be happy for him, because they want to stay in crowd, and in the thing, and in the money, then they're gonna come against you. One of the things I have noticed is that if this channel was one of those channels where we coming on here and like bashing people and obscene and stuff like this, I think we would have had a couple thousand subscribers by now. Let me tell you something. What strives? I have been studying this. What strives and what grows quickly is all of the negativity that happens in the world. Very rare people with positivity rise up. You have to find your niche. It's not impossible. It happens. That's why I'm here still. But the thing is, the negative ones, like all you need, like, okay, we could go back to the Super Bowl, right? So Rihanna did her thing. There are those who thought she did nothing. She just sat. She did nothing because everybody's supposed to behave a certain way, right? And then there are those who then this morning I saw a clip, they about 3 hours past, and I saw a headline saying something about her father didn't know she's pregnant until she revealed the Super Bowl. But I think for years, everybody know Rihanna and father don't have a good relationship. He and her mother and her father separated when she was small because of DV in the family, whatever it is. And I think she talks to him, but I would, so but and I want to know how they know that. So I mean, they're looking for every little thing that's negative because that's not a positive story to tell, right? And then there's another guy who don't remember who he was. And sometimes YouTube just present these things here where I guess in the algorithm because you listen to something to show you something else. He was talking about her, and he saw from a troubled past in Barbados. I said she didn't have a troubled past. What is he talking about? So I have to answer and type in saying what troubled past? She didn't have a troubled past. Her parents separated because her father was, what he was. But she was raised by her mother. She was very talented, obviously. She formed a little girl group, was singing with her thing, got discovered it. What troubled past? It's not that she was on the street. I call her trouble. She was on the street, doing selling her body or something like that, or or she was DV'd as well, whatever. But she wasn't. So why are you starting the conversation, the beginning of this conversation that from a troubled past in Barbados to in the little island of Barbados. Barbados is a beautiful island. For those of you who have not traveled to the Caribbean, you need to come out and see what these islands are like. I know we are called third world, but third world is supposed to be developing. But I think that's why people come here, they're always so shocked. Oh my God, it's Trinidad and Tobago? Yes, because you need to read and visit outside of where you live a little bit. And because I don't call my country a third world, I call my country my land on the planet that God created. I come not third world because this is not developing. We are developed. And everything for everybody's understanding, everything in the world is continue to grow and develop. So there's nobody who's developed 100% are not there yet. We all developing. I am developing. Christine, I hope, well, I think she's developing. We all have to develop. It's a daily thing, as long as we are alive, right? So people put these labels. So he said that, because I guess if he didn't say that at the beginning, to come and talk about her success and her billions or whatever it is, that he figured people might not have tuned into his channel. So he had to start with something like that, and go back to the Chris Brown issue, even though she explained it already, said what she said, talks to the man, but they want to keep it alive. So and that's why those Real Housewife shows, quote unquote, are so very popular, because there are a bunch of women overdressed, overweaved, over eyelashed, over made up, over Botox, just bashing each other, cursing each other, throwing words at each other, selling each other out. They say they're friends, but they come in and say something, living some really ridiculous lives, right? So the one who just got locked up there, the one with the scheme that she was on, Jen Shaw, right? I could call her name because everybody knows about what happened with her. I kind of look at these shows. I look at clips so I can talk. I want to be informed. So I look at little clips. All the show that was going on around her. Right? Now it's we discovered that the mansion she was living in was leased. All the fancy cars she was driving were all leased.
Okay.
They went in to seize all of the jewelry she was wearing, all the jewelry, all the diamonds and the emeralds and everything else. And they had all kind of nice stats attached to them, all the fancy, the Gucci they attached to them. They are all fake. So she was literally just spending her money on people and showing off while she's scheming old people to take older people to get their money. Right? So people look at her and thinking, oh my God, I want to be like Jen Shaw. Be careful who you want to be like. Because a lot of people who you see there, that's not their real life. It is not their real life. Don't start something with a sensational catch line just for people to look at you to say something really bad about something negative. Some of us can be positive and we will get our people. There are those who will listen to us. YouTube, please push this channel. We try to have a positive thing here, right? We don't be bashing anybody, but we have to speak the truth. But the truth is that a lot of what we see on social media is not the truth. The truth is, people show all the good, nice things, and people don't show the negativity. Recently, Ben Affleck and J-Lo at the Grammys, right? There was a clip of her looking at she was selling, and he said, he has this kind of face that always look like he's tired, right? And she said, I had trouble in paradise. These seats saver, they have these people who save seats and move and move and move. She said she was right there. She said nothing like that happened. They were very lovey-dovey, and it's something she said to him, and he said to her, she was like something, and that's the expression. So people took the little clip that they kept showing over and over and thought that they were fighting and saying trouble in paradise. Because you know what? It's the same people said, oh, I want them to work. It's the same ones who would be there, they get headlines and having plenty of viewers to their channels if they were to break up today or tomorrow. Because that's the bacchanal. The confusion is what they want to hear. And that's what's selling these days. And we need some of us who have the strength to do it, to pull back from it. That's how Beckett Cook have the strength to sit there and quote God's word and speak up for who he is, regardless of whatever death threats he might get or whatever it is. We need to let our voice be heard and say the right thing. You're not bashing anybody, not putting anybody down. You live your life, let me live mine. Because God is a God of mercy and he is looking out for all of us. Remember the story of the woman at the well? What was her? She had so many husbands that she didn't know what to do with herself. And when he spoke to her, she couldn't believe. First of all, he was a Jew. And the other thing that she know her, she was by why did she was by herself at time of the day? You know why? Because she couldn't go with the other village folk. They looked down on her. So she went there alone. She was there alone. And when he approached her, Jesus approached her, she was so shocked. So that a man, a Jew, and knowing her reputation, he was speaking to her. What happened? She became, I think, the first evangelist by going out into her town and telling people about the goodness of God as she met Jesus Christ. So people need to be careful. There are those who will continue to go their way and live in a negative space. But some of us, I plan and I intend to stay in a positive space and always speak and empower young women and women in general to live, because somebody when who do this fashion, they ain't all that young in numbers, to try and portray a positive side of life, especially when it pertains to each other, when it pertains to us among ourselves. Us. We need to lift each other up. There's nothing better than a sister lifting another sister up. What do you say, Christine?
Well, I love the fact that you just mentioned sister, because there is a friend of mine in one of the groups that I learned from marketing, Life on Fire. Her name is Rachel Lucas, and Rachel always has these beautiful posts because she's walking her own journey. And 2 days ago, I think she said, I'm not in competition with anybody. I'm only trying to be the better version of myself than I was yesterday. And there's another powerful post that she sent up, and it comes back to sisterhood. And I'm going to give credit to Rachel Lucas. She's such a sweetheart. And this post comes from the Spiritual and Rich Woman, and it says, women are abandoning the need to just come together and gossip. They are coming together to heal, grow, and prosper. This is the new sisterhood. I love that. I love that's
and
the
that needs to be pushed. That needs to be pushed. Because that's not what's being pushed. Mainstream media wouldn't want to hear about that. Or YouTuber wouldn't want to hear about that. That's too, is it here that I throw a glass of wine in your face? Oh, Cheryl throws a glass of wine in Christine's face. Blah, 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 blah. And everything. So the negative is what they're trying to promote. And we who have voices to be on the positive side need to speak up as well. Let them do their thing. Not trying to do the thing. You could go right ahead, because I'm not here to stop anybody. But I will have my voice and I will raise my voice as well in the positive light. And that's why, ladies, and further gentlemen might listen to this, I am going to be announcing the venue for my upcoming conference, May 13th, 2023. It is primarily a conference for women. And my sons are always there to support me, and my DJ is a male. So they're not want a man who want to come and sit in there and listen. But I think men might be a little frustrated watching makeup and fashion show for women and thing. I don't know if they want to hear that, but that's what we're going to be doing on that day, apart from our inspirational part and our motivational part, whatever it is. Christine is going to come with her whole wellness plan and talk to women about menopause and different things. So, all of this is going to be happening. So I don't know if men will want to hear. They should want to, because all men who are married after a while, their wife's probably going to get into menopause and they need to understand it. But, it's up to them. But it's primarily a conference for women. Because the name of my NGO is with women in mind. Because that's what God put into my spirit to form something with women in mind. See behind me here? With women in mind. It doesn't mean, no, this way. No. Where's this one? This way, with women in mind. Right, women, right. It doesn't mean that men are being put out. Right? We love men and we want men to be a part of our lives because I don't want to live without having males around me. But the thing is, it is primarily for women. It's a sisterhood, and we are building each other up. So when you have a woman in mind, don't think it's something to do with bashing men. Anybody who wants to bash men, you're not welcome in this chat. I don't want you here because I'm going to bash men. If something happens to you and a man, we can get counseling, get somebody to talk to you, and you deal with that. But you don't come here or come to my conference and bash men. We are going to lift each other up. And lift each other up doesn't have anything to do with bashing men. It's simply lifting each other up. So we know how to deal with the men in our lives a little better. We know how to become better women. That's what that's all about. Right? Should add that. So May 13th, it is going to be the conference. I have a venue already. So the carnival is over. I have to go sign some documents. So when I've done that, I'm going to check with my sponsors, my vendors, so I can add logos to my marketing and begin to really push out in the month of March. Right. So that's all I have to say about that, Christine. What do you
Well,
have to say as we wrap up?
well, what I have to say about that is that, as you heard, I'm going to be there with Cheryl, there to support not just Cheryl, but to support you. So we are excited. We are looking forward to meeting you. We are looking forward as well to hearing what your thoughts are on our conversations. Is there something that you would like us to talk about? Because once it's not controversial, it's not politics, it's not religion. We would love to sink our teeth, so to speak, in it, because anything that benefits a sisterhood that is lifting, it is said that a rising tide raises all boats. And so if we continue to support each other, love each other, give each other peace, grace, and mercy, and we love the men, guys, like Cheryl, I'm looking forward to having a dedicated man of God partner in my life. That is coming. But we are interdependent. So we are independent to some extent, but we're interdependent. We need each other and we love the guys as well. So looking forward to seeing you at Cheryl's With Women in Mind conference. And yeah,
With
let's
women
get
in
you
mind. With women in mind, not with men in mind conference.
with women in mind. Oh my gosh, did I say men? Clearly, I've got men in the brain.
That's okay. That's okay. Maybe that's okay because we do it with men in mind, so we can become better women for the men in our lives. So there you go.
Yes, and the men can learn something too,
Yes.
because I remember listening to some sermons, and we really need to communicate at a different level,
Yes.
and a different level of respect. We're just seeing that fall apart in our society. So things that didn't happen as often before, we're seeing that. And so the more men understand who we are, what we're going through, they too become the beneficiaries. When we improve, they become beneficiaries. When they improve, we become beneficiaries. So we are
Yes.
interdependent, and we are excited to see you at With Women in Mind.
Yes. Becoming her too. That's the conference name. Becoming, because we did part one before the epidemic, and we're going to be doing part two of becoming her. Becoming her is to benefit everything in our lives. For us to become better women, love each other a little bit more, and be better women, wives, girlfriends, whatever, friends to the men in our lives. And mothers to our sons. So I have sons and Christine has a son, you know. So everybody, thank you all for being here, who will come in and listen to the replay. Those who will please subscribe, tell your friends about us, you know, and come and subscribe to YouTube. I'm asking again, you know, push us. We need it, right? Because without subscribers, you know, really, I mean, you know, we need the subscribers. And like I said, I'm not paying for any. That's not my stick. I do not like dishonesty, so I will not be paying anybody to get subscribers. I've been offered many, many, from 80 US dollars to 300 US a month. Oh, I'll be getting the offers in my DM, but I am not going to pay. I think we are organic, authentic, we are real, and we have something good to say, and we will build. Maybe it's slower than we would like, but we will build. And YouTube, they can do us the favor. So, folks, please subscribe, like, subscribe, and tell your friends about it. Share this out. Okay? So we'll be here again next Monday, God's willing, with another subject matter, right? Something good to talk about. And maybe next week, Monday, I'll give you all the venue. Okay? So Christine. And oh, you see our new intro? Our link trees are right there. And go to the channel, you'll find our link tree. Every single thing you want to know about us is connected to our link tree. So you can go there, contact us, have a free consultation with us, buy our books, buy our products, whatever. Check us out. Subscribe to our link tree.